Hi, Mike. I'm also Mike DiPasquale from Richmond, BC. And when I uploaded my entry to the Next Great Minister contest last night, I started looking around and really was interested in a few other responses. And yours, I guess, caught my eye as what I would personally consider the flagship for environmental strategies of entry. So let's be honest, there's a few distinct streams of entries coming. And I guess I took a bit more time than normal to look through yours, read the comments, really try and get a feel for your initiative and your plans for our country. And I guess I just have a few questions, and I think that comes down to the way you deal with your carrot and stick kind of incentives for businesses to switch to new Canadian developed green models. And my concern comes from the cost of these newer models of production, newer models of business. The cost of using this new green technology. Because let's be honest, the number one, well, you said this yourself, one of the number one concerns of businesses not adopting new technology is the cost associated with it. I know you said that you're going to offer kind of tax incentives or tax breaks, bursaries, that kind of financial incentive for companies to switch, but you also said that you're looking to be more hostile and put financial penalties on companies that don't make those switches. So how fast are you looking at making this change here? Is it an overnight change? Is it a 5-year period, 10-year period, 15, 20, 25-year period? Because you got to be able to convince these companies to move to these, what are by and large, less cost-effective methods of production. And when you start doing that, you start eating into profits. When you start eating into profits, companies lose competitive markets. They lose their advantage over maybe a fellow competitor who isn't as green as they are. And when you start doing that to companies, they're not going to stick around. If you have a more hostile business economic model, well, the fun thing about Canada and our Western democracy and our open borders is that these companies can take their business somewhere else. They don't need plants in Canada. They don't need resources from Canada. They don't need anything from Canada. They can get them from the European Union. They can get them from Asia, which we know certainly doesn't follow anything resembling proper environmental practice. Or they can get them from the United States, which with the United States current administration has also shown that they don't quite show the same concern for the environment that our country is showing, or at least intends to show. So when these companies start going somewhere else, we're going to be losing Canadian jobs. We're going to be losing money going into Canada. And when you start doing that, the people aren't going to accept it. They're not going to be happy. They're going to be unemployed. They're going to be disgruntled. They're not going to have money. They're not going to be paying taxes, which means there's no money going into the federal treasuries, which means we can't make all these big green pushes. So how do you propose to keep all these companies on board with Canada when you're making it harder for them to operate? Yeah, it's a nice, good lofty goal for wanting to move to green technology. We need to. You're right. We need to make some changes in order to keep this world sustainable in our future. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on how you would convince companies, and not just green technology companies, companies that need to use green technology, to stay in Canada and use that. Because really it's not in their best interest. Nobody sees the environment as an immediate threat to them, so they're not willing to do anything about it. And really that just comes down to my concern. How do you convince business to stay in Canada when it sounds like you're going to be increasing their cost of manufacturing? So I look forward to your reply. I look forward to hearing from you. And yeah, hopefully this kind of gets a bit more conversation going into the more practical element of the Canadian green economy. Thanks.